This is Mozart String Quartet in A major, Herschel 464. This is the first movement. This is the very opening of the whole piece. And I'd like to use it to talk about embellishing chords and how to label them. We've already seen this one up top here, Beethoven, Opus 12 number 1. But for this one, I'd like to just set down the procedure with clarity. The first thing you need to do is provide Roman numerals and figures. What we know about bass lines can help a great deal. Remember our table, where if we have scale degree 7 in the bass for a 5 dominant 7th sounding chord, then I need a 5 6 5. If I've got scale degree 2, 5 4 3, scale degree 4 makes it a 5 4 2. If you've got that information in your head, it's really quick. So up here we've got a 1 chord with 1 in the bass, 3 2 1. Okay, I can see that it's basically dominant, and if I were listening to it, that'd be pretty apparent very quickly. Okay, so which do I need? I've got scale degree 2 in the bass. There's my root, by the way. You can see the 7th in there. Okay, so what do I need? 5 4 3. Okay. Now notice its context. It's sandwiched between a 1 6 and a root position 1. And here's the dominant again. Chordal 7th up there. Okay, so what do I need for figures? If you said 5 6 5, you were right on. Scale degree 7 in the bass, so I need 5 6 5. Okay, now here it's a root position. So instead of writing the Roman numeral again, I'll just write the figure. Alright, now here it is again. There's a little passing motion here, but the bass sticks. So I'm just going to say 5 7 for that whole thing. There's been a break, so I'll re-articulate that and make it clear. Hey, I'm dealing with the dominant still. And there's 1. Now here's scale degree 3 in the topmost voice, and that makes it an IAC, imperfect authentic cadence there. Alright, we've analyzed a phrase in terms of the Roman numerals and figures. That's step 1. Now we want to look at all these different dominants and say, can we view any of them as embellishing? The main thing that makes a chord sound embellishing rather than a full function-bearing chord is inversion. So here I've got a 5 4 3 and a 5 6 5. They're inverted. I'm probably going to be able to call them embellishing by the bass motion around them. But then here comes a root position chord at the end. That is going to be the dominant. Maybe I'll have to write it earlier, but that's definitely dominant, moving to a tonic there. Here's my starting tonic at the front end. Those are clear cut. And just knowing where the phrase is a big part of this. So I know that the phrase is these 8 measures. I'm going to probably start with a tonic, and if it's closed, I'll end with dominant to tonic motion to create the cadence. In this case, the imperfect authentic cadence. Okay, so then let's zero in on these. We can say this is a tonic all the way through to here. This one, all being tonic and bearing that function. But then what in the world with this 5? How can it be part of a tonic expansion? We need to label how it's embellishing. And that is determined simply by the bass motion. This motion here is all stepwise in one direction. That's passing. So I don't really have much room here, but I'm going to slip in a P that's below the Roman numeral but above this tonic. Now how about this? Here's a 5 6 5. It's an inversion. The fact is this dominant continues all the way through here, so I can gather these all up, try and clump them together, and say this dominant doesn't start there, it starts here. And even though it starts fairly unstable, being an inversion, it ends up root position, and then provides closure at the end. So it sticks and stays in that position for a long time. I'll erase that D at the end and say, you know what, that dominant actually started back here. I'm not going to view this as embellishing just because I think it groups best with these chords over here. Okay, so there's a chordal leap. It is embellishing in that sense, but it's part of the dominant that is more stable that follows. This phrase then starts with a tonic expansion with a passing 5-4-3. And we're saying, look at this chord is different than the way this phrase ends. This phrase ends with a dominant that's in root position, and that dominant tonic sounds like a significant change. I like to think of it as kind of like a journey. This is me going out to the garbage can and coming back home. Home base is 1. I go out and I come right back. That's very little motion. I haven't really gone anywhere. I'm not going to write home about such a trip. But then I get significantly further away from tonic. I am getting to a place that has its own solid existence unto itself. This is like me going to Europe, another place, and then coming back. It's established in being another place because of this root position. Okay, and one other thing, we're focusing on the bass, but it's for our, and that's just for our labeling of it. But for our ear and the way we perceive this 5-4-3, it's also important what the other parts are doing. And if you take a look at their motion, we talked about the bass motion by step passing. The top is doing that as well. See that motion right through the chord. Here's E, D, C sharp, more passing motion. Now there's a leap with leading tone up top in this viola part. A lot of embellishing motion, and that means that it doesn't get the same emphasis as these chords do. Notice the metrical placement as well. This is on a downbeat, still rearticulating on downbeats. This is sandwiched in between two other chords in the middle of a measure, beat 2, a weak beat. So yes, we call it passing because of the bass motion, but there's a lot more going on that takes the emphasis off of it and makes it something far more transitory, something that you're moving through. You're moving through in the outer parts. You're de-emphasizing metrically because it's positioned on a weak beat, beat 2. All those factors come into play. So a big factor is the inversion. A big factor is the bass motion, but there are some other things going on too. Outer voice motion, metrical placement, that all play a role in making this dominant very different from this other dominant that comes later.